Um, Last class we discussed about what is map side join and what is a reduce side join, right? So we did not see the how to implement a map side join and the reduce side join using a MapReduce program. So basically, we'll just revise what we discussed. So first we discuss about what is map side join. Then we'll go and see the example of map side join, and again we'll come back and see what is reduce side join, and we'll see the example. So, so what we discuss about map side join is example. So, uh, join is kind of in any use case there is always a need of join, right? If you want to join a two data set, okay, and uh, the map side join is applicable whenever one data set is larger and another data set is smaller, right? So you can think of as a one example like customer data might be a smaller data set. It depends. It depends. Sometimes it's also larger. Just we assume a customer data sets a smaller master or dimension table which has smaller data set, and you have a sales data or order data which is keeps coming for every transaction you made on the uh, your store or e-commerce website. So what we are going to do in this example, so in the map side join, uh, in the smaller tape data set will be loaded into the distributed cache, something called a distributed cache, which is used to place a data in a memory. Okay, so when you specify your smaller data set in your distributed cache in the driver dot uh, Java program, so what happens is it ships your so when the yarn schedules your job in different data nodes, it shifts your smaller data set into respective nodes. Okay, the respective nodes, and then that will be loaded into the memory. Okay, that initially what it will do is it will just load the data set into when it loads the job into different data node where it is going to run. Similarly, your smaller data set also will be shifted to that node's local directory, and then it will be available in the memory. Okay, so that's how the smaller data set is loaded into memory as a distributed cache. Then uh, so other data set, which is a larger data set, that's anyway based on number of blocks available in HDFS. You will have a number of mapper job is or map task is run in a parallel. Okay, so while running the mapper job, right, what we need to do is we need to say example I consider uh, customer ID as a key. Say example I want to find out the each customer sales, right? So what I do is I need to consider customer ID as a key. Okay, so in Mapper, you make customer ID as a key, and read this data from custom distributed cache and compare it. Do the kind of join, right? Based on the customer ID, we do join, right? The sales data with the customer ID, we are going to do the join within customer ID. So do the lookup. Okay, you take this data from the distributed cache and do the lookup, like whether this customer IDs exist in the customer table. If exist, you just send the data as an output of mapper task. So similarly, if you keep emitting for every record, so when it comes to reducer, it is going to give you the grouped sales data for each customer, and then you do whatever aggregate you want to do with the reducer side. So that's how the map side join is going to work. Okay, let me show you the example, and if you have any question, just let me know. You people able to see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Let me start the history server also. Once this yarn starts. Okay, I'll show you the data set which I taken. Okay, so this is the it's a small data set just for understanding the uh, how the MapReduce the map site join works. Okay, so this is a customer. We have 7 customers in our data set. Okay, from customer ID 1 to 7, right? So this is the one data set, and the orders are into different files. Okay, so it can be same file also, but for uh, reduce site join also, to make use of this data set for reduce site join also, I just prepared in 2 different files. Okay, so as example, this sales is coming from Amazon website. Okay, so this is the order ID, and what is the product uh, category or product name he purchased, what is the card type used, and what is the order amount, and the date which on the sale or the order happened, and the e-commerce website. At the end, the last field is basically the customer ID who purchased this item, right? So this is the sales or order data. Similarly, it is another file which just meant for this order is coming from the Flipkart e-commerce site. Okay, so we have this. The one is basically customer data set, and another like these two are considered to be orders data set, right? So we want to do join between these two data set and find out the each customer's total sale. So that's a kind of a problem statement. So let's start with the driver program. Okay, so this is where we just create a job and submit the respective mapper class, the reducer class, and the what is your input and output. Okay, all things we generally do on the driver program. So importing respective classes, and coming to the main method, I'm taking 3 arguments. Okay, okay, so one is the input, which is kind of a map set join where I put this two order table, right? Two order data set in the input directory, and this is the output directory where I'm going to write my output. And you see that my third input is basically my customer file, the smaller data set where I kept my customer data set. It is a smaller data set where I kept it. So I'm going to pass this also in another third argument. One is input, which is your order data, and output where you are going to write the output. And third argument is basically your customer data set HDFS location. Now what we need to do is in the main method. Okay, so first I am taking the input and output directory and preparing the path object. Okay, and then creating a configuration object, job object, and setting your driver class. And you see this line number 46. Okay, so what we are doing is job dot add cache file. Okay, and then new URI of, you need to provide the HDFS path of your full qualified path of your customer data set. Okay, so HDFS is configured in the, as I mentioned earlier also, the 9000 port number 9000, and so this host name is localhost colon 9000, and then concatenate it with the smaller data set location, which is my the customer data, right? So we are loading the data into cache, which is basically a distributed cache. But what it does is then it is going to ship your this data set to the respective data node where your task is going to run, where your map task is going to run. And remaining thing as usual, right? Specifying your mapper class. My mapper class is order mapper.java, which is a class file you need to specify. So order mapper.class. Similarly, order aggregate reducer. And I have only one reducer I kept. So I made it as my map reduce task one. And what is your map output uh, key value pairs, key value pairs type? So I'm considering order is ID as string. So this can be of integer also. And anyway, order amount I'm going to send as a value. So I consider that to be a float writable. And in reducer also, after reducing, it will have same type of key value pair. And then add your input path, um, and also what is the file format, text input format, similarly for output also. And finally, I'm just dropping if output directories exist. All right, so and then submit a job and wait for the completion. Now coming, this is the driver program. Any question on this? Only the previous program, this is the only difference. Just a minute. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. It's based samely. Sorry, we use the same driver class which we used in the other MapReduce program. The only difference is we just added a new argument and we added that order data set to the customer data set to the distributed cache. Apart from the same program, right? So, you have any question on this, or shall I continue?
No.
Okay, fine. All right. Thanks for the update. Yeah. Now let's go into the look into the mapper order mapper. That's where your the join logic is going to happen. And aggregate reducer is same. It's a previous reducer or example summing of your order amount. Anyway, we'll go through that as well. Okay. Now when it comes to order mapper, it's same. Importing your what is that the classes, right? So if you look at this, the file system is object we are file system classes we are importing. Why we are importing a file system class? Basically we want to read the data from the SDFS, right? So so we need that, right? Then remaining things are same, like mapper class and float writable, all those classes we are importing. Okay, so now so in this mapper class we are extending the uh, the Hadoop's mapper uh, class, which has actually we are extending the Hadoop's mapper class based on your what is your input key value and what is your output key value. So once you extend this, you need to overwrite our a few methods, right? So generally we used to write only map method, overwrite only map method and write our logic. Now what we need to do is we need to make use of a setup method. I told you when you in a mapper class, basically four method you can write, right? Because we are extending from the MapReduce mapper class, we are extending. So it has a four method like setup, run, map, and cleanup. So there are four methods available. You can override that. So in this example, we are going to make use of the setup method. So I told you setup method and cleanup will run once for a mapper instance. When you create an instance for mapper, so it will create only once. It will run for only once. So what we are going to do inside the setup method? We just so we pass uh, the customer data set as sales in a distributed cache. We just want to read that file and have it in a memory, in our, I think, in memory or in Java terminology. We just want to have it in a hash map. Okay, there's a collection object called hash map. Okay, so which is going to hold your data in a uh, in this data set. Okay, so hash map generally works like it's going to have a key value pair. Okay, so it is going to hold a key value pair. Um, it's customer. Okay, so first we are creating the hash map. Okay, just creating instance for hash map. Okay, as I mentioned, it will going to have a key value pair. So our key is a customer ID and the value is basically uh, customer what value I'm taking. I think customer ID is a key and value is the third argument. 0, 1, 2, 3. I think country I'm loading into the value. For now, value we will not be using, but the idea is to do the join between customer ID. But based on your use case requirement, you change value which you are loading into the hash map, right? The map. Okay, and then when it comes to setup method, when the setup method is called on the creation of a map instance, so it is going to come inside this function. It is in the context object. You will see all the list of cached files. Okay, so it will have how many number of you file you added in the distributed cache. Those file will be there. You need to iterate and based on your data set, you need to take the data set and load. So just this is giving the list of uh, files which is there in the distributed cache. And if you want to iterate it, use the for loop for this whatever inside it has is basically URI object. So for each URI, you are going to actually create a path variable and load this path, and then you just compare that. Okay, use that compare the file name. Basically, you will get something like this. Uh, where is the path which we passed? Okay, so if this is the this is the data we put it in the distributed cache, right? We just take this path and we actually, if you try to get a path dot get name, it is going to give you the file name. This is basically entire file path, and if you put get name, it is going to give you the file name. And just I'm just comparing whether it's equal to the customer .txt. If yes, it is going to call me another function which is my the function which I written. Okay, so it is going to call me this function. I am passing the path object and the context, and you go to this function. It's just a private function which I wrote. So to read the data set and then load it to the hash map. So first you need to create a file system object by passing the configurations. Configurations available in the context. So file system dot get of context dot get configuration. Okay, and then what we are going to do is we are going to create again the uh, file path. Okay, so then now we need to see, we are going to do the normal IO operation, file IO operation, which is you're going to read your data from the file and load it into the hash map. So for that, you need to use this is a more of Java way of learning your file. Reading your file. So basically, you need to create an input stream reader and pass your path, which code reads, and then that has to be supplied to the buffer reader. And once you have a buffer reader object with the input file stream reader, then you can actually read each line. So just use the same link if you disconnect, if this disconnect. So then what you need to do is when you get a buffer reader object, there's a method called read line. So you put it in while loop, like until it is null, just iterate it. Okay. So each lines when you iterate, so that is going to give you this each record, right? This is the customer data which you are iterating it to load into hash map. So again, you split the line using a comma separator. It's going to give you the list of customer fields. So I put customer the map which I am preparing. key as a customer ID, which is in the 0th position. Okay, this is the 0th position customer ID, and 1 is a customer name, 2 is a age, and 3 is this country name. So I take customer ID and country and form the key value pair in the hash map. So just this will happen, this will iterate for each line in their customer data set and prepare this hash map, right? So that's what in this load customers to the hash map function it is happening. So basically we just loaded our data set from customer txt into the hash map as a key value where key is the customer ID and value is the country. Okay, so that will happen only once for one mapper. So that's why we are writing into the setup function. Now we'll come back to the map function, which is going to call for every record of your order data set, right? So example, if this is the uh, record which is coming as a input as a key value pair to the map method. So again, we're going to split basing using the comma separator, and so this will have fields from order ID and sorry, this is the product which is purchased and card type and other stuff. And then it is going to have the customer ID as well, right? So based on this only, we prepared our customer data also in the hash map from the distributed cache. Now, so we need to do join between this customer and which is there in the hash map, right? So what you do, you just split by comma and get the last position, which is the sixth position. Uh, so you just uh, do the lookup. So customer map has all the customer IDs. So if you want to do the lookup on your hash map, you can use the uh, uh, dot get. So basically it's just key value pair, right? So you just access via using a key. So your key is basically customer ID. So that you have it here. So the fields of 6 going to give you customer ID, and you are checking whether it is there in the map customer map. So basically this is where the join is happened. Okay, just if you observe what we do when you write a query for two data set join, we put a join condition, right, which is having a similar column in both data set. So same thing we are doing it here. So customer hash map dot get of, you pass the customer ID. If exist, it is going to give you the country name. If not, it is basically it will not give you anything. So if it is exist, then that means we need it. So the join condition is happening. So so it will come basically. If it is not exist, basically it will not come. Basically it will uh, uh, throw error. Basically that is. I just put the exception here. So if it is not exist, it will. So this uh, things will not happen. Okay. So if it is say not exist, if it is exist, then you come to this place and take the um, what is this? Okay, so here in the order data set, so we're taking the order amount as a value, and the key is anyway the okay. So this is basically a country based cell. It's not basically order based. So we are making the customer data set mapping, and we just take country. So we're going to find out the sales of country based sales, whichever customer ID is matching. So we take country as a key and value as the order amount. That's what we are writing into the output of your mapper. You have any question on this? Okay, so I assume you don't have any question. So basically, we just taken the two things to understand here. One is how to read it data from distributed cache and load it into hash map. That is one part. Other part is how do you do the lookup. So you take your a record which is coming to your map task, and then do look up with the customer map, and whichever is matching that respective orders data, you just out it as a key as a country and value as a order amount. That's what we do in a mapper. Okay, now when you go to reducer, it's very simple. So already the country, uh, the related countries will be grouped together, and it's going to give you key as a country and a value as a grouped order amounts. So you just do sum of just so anyway for you take it will be one country will be coming and respective collected order amount will come. Just sum of the order amount, and then you write finally the country and the total sale happened for that particular country. Similarly, that will repeat for other countries. The reduce function will call for each distinct key value pair. So finally, you will get a um, basically each country's total sale. Okay, so let's run this program. I'll just go and I'll just do few changes. Let me package it as Maven. The same the map set join, reduce set join, we are going to do in Hive query with just 2 lines of code, right? So this MapReduce, we write this much logic. In Hive query, we just do only the simple 2 lines of SQL statement. We can do this entire logic. I will tell you when we go and discuss about Hive. So internally, when we do that, what is going to happen? That's what I explained here. Okay, so this is built. Okay, we have only uh, 2 minutes left. We'll just disconnect this and connect back the same link so that we'll run this example. Okay, otherwise it will in between it will break. Okay.